Yes, the story I brought to you from the Ghanaian Times. That's the tragedy of 10 people perishing in that accident on the front page. The biggest story there. But there's a story you should know about. FDA closes down 4 supermarkets for selling unregistered products. And these supermarkets are around Osu. Of course, the products they are selling, they are labeled Chinese. Most of you in this republic, I mean, cannot even read it to even get to know that.
No, but remember, I mean, no. I mean, the fact that someone cannot read doesn't stop anybody from ensuring that even if you have a product labeled in a foreign language, there is a translation. Even if you have to affix a fresh instruction on that box.
Frankly, I'm not saying different things anyway, but the shops are Jianghua Agriculture Trade Company, Panda Mart, Downwind Sale, and Huan Jianji Limited Supermarkets. So these are the ones, and they are supposed to pay a fee, pay administrative fine of at least 25,000 each. But they say that we'll supervise the supermarket to relabel all their products and also make sure that they are in English. And they also ensure that the pharmaceutical products, which were seized during the swoop 2 weeks ago, were not sold at the supermarkets for the public.
You know, Raymond, the reason you have Food and Drugs Authority at the port is to inspect drugs that come into this country and indicate whether or not they have been licensed to be in this country.
Yeah.
So who passed these drugs into this country?
Wow. Yeah.
How did they get into the country?
Yeah, heads must roll, but no head is going to roll at least anyway.
And even sometimes mystery shopping. I had a friend over the weekend who complained to me that he bought a drug at a pharmacy only to get home to realize that malaria drug has expired. And he actually taken 1 course already.
Hey.
You know, and so it's
well,
so
the day I went to a mart and saw expired biscuits, I was just checking and I saw expired biscuits. So I drew their attention. From that day, anytime I'm buying anything, I check the expiry date. You know, because some of us, if we take that, we are finished.
I did some study that 89% do not check the nutritional content and the data on the product. And these are the educated people anyway. But that's also on the front page. The other story, the Imani Lot's Electrocam's Songo concession. Consider it a game changer for Ghana's salt industry.
I've seen that report that talks about the fact that Ghana we're likely to produce some 2.5 million metric tons of salt annually, and that could lead to the generation of some $800 million to $1.2 billion into the Ghanaian economy. If you consider the fact that in Ghana we are currently at the IMF seeking some $3 billion, this becomes the game changer, and some have termed it as white gold. But of course, the community also matters, and Imani talks about it. The community must be engaged, and the Electrochem must make sure that the community benefits from this project. It shouldn't just be like we've seen when it comes to gold mining, where the communities sometimes are left out of everything.
Well, the back page has a story that's very important to everybody in this country. Already, the responses have been very sad. Kotoko and Karela winless streak. That's aside the point because Kotoko won 1-0. And Holy Stars upset Hearts. Premier League debutants. Basake Holy Stars. Basake Holy Stars. Yesterday shocked Phobian Faithful with a 1-0 victory over Hearts of Oak in their opening fixture of the 2024-2025 Ghana Premier League at Accra Sports Stadium. And I'm expecting that the sound will be played. If it's not now, perhaps in the future.
Now, is it a bit about the science student?
Yes.
The science student who's learned how to play football and scored Accra Hearts of Oak.
AKA Infrastructure Fan Club.
But who says the science students don't play football?
Oh, nobody.
They don't understand that a science student is the one that scored the goal.
Because you see, Raymond, when we went to secondary school, we knew people who were playing football. They didn't have a lot of.
No. Science students at Ahmadiyya Secondary School.
Medical doctors, playing football.
So, yes, like Oliver Bierhoff.
Professional football.
Yeah. Professional Oliver Bierhoff.
Yeah.
Not in Ghana.
Anyway.
Oliver Bierhoff. Oliver Bierhoff. Not in Ghana.
Yeah.
I stand to be corrected, but
no. I get you. I get you 100%. Just that we should play the sound of the star, the supporters of Accra also full crying anyway. But that's on the back page of the Ghanaian Times, yeah.
Well, in the Business and Financial Times, some of the lead stories: cashew price volatility dims, high production prospects, and 250 million World Bank energy sector recovery loan approved by Parliament, and also a lead story about investors opt for safe bets as elections near, and Afri-Exim Bank aggressively tackling trade stagnation. And these are the lead stories on the front page of the Business and Financial Times.
Now, the new finder says here Ghana's economic woes persist 2 years after signing onto IMF program. This is Sea Energy, and has a picture of Michael Kobler on the front page. Inflation to end the year at 20.8%. Fitch, the one saying so, yeah. The Fed rate cut could ease pressure on ailing cedi, IEA, and cocoa, gold, crude oil face mixed fortunes. And that's on the front page of the new Christian Ngatu.
Okay, we're still talking about illegal mining, and you conducted some interviews on our front. And let's listen to these men of God urging all of us to play a role in the fight against illegal mining, galamsey.
My heart is bleeding. We are sitting on a time bomb. It is a disaster. We are committing a national genocide, not only for us, but for the generation yet unborn. What about the police, the mining commission, the minister, the DCs, and the rest? So for me, there is complete institutional failure, and no rhetoric can compensate that unless we see action. If I were the minister, I would have stepped down because I would have feel a failure. People should begin to lay down their tools and calm down. If you have fought and fought and fought and fought, and it is not working, then why are you there? And people should be sad. So in Ghana, so long as we shield these people, we protect them, we vote for them, we cherish them at our funerals, at our places, they are big men, they will keep doing these things. We should demonstrate against the DCs, the police officers who are there, who see the issues, the regional ministers, the land ministers, people who are going about coming down. Unless Ghanaians take a day, wear red bands, and tell them, I wish every Tom, Dick, and Harry, the buses, the airports, the market, everybody saying that we are not going to work until there's a definite action on galamsey. There, the powers that be will listen, and probably something could happen. I wish even by coming Sunday, church leaders will wear red bands, go out and demonstrate, even if it is to the Jubilee House or to wherever, they must go.
So Reverend Paul Frimpong Manso and Reverend Opuni Frimpong, look, I cannot understand why people would destroy water bodies and we sit down unconcerned. I cannot understand how we destroy the environment. We have heavy metals in our water bodies, heavy metals in our soil, so affecting the food that we eat, and we pretend all is well in this country. All is definitely not right. And so I agree with them. In fact, I am happy they're urging the religious leaders to actually start their own campaign in the churches, and they're urging people to demand that government does the right thing. All of us have a role to play, and I am waiting patiently. I want to hear from organized labor. They've been very quiet. Look, you may think that this is not your pension, but let me tell you one thing. In a country where people have chronic diseases and they are struggling, for those who have kidney diseases, they are suffering. Government recently has been talking about a 6 months period. And mind you, it's 6 months. We don't know what happens after that. Imagine going on retirement and having to spend all your money buying medications for diseases that could have been prevented if we had saved our environment. Organized labor, get on board. Let all of us fight this menace once and for all. Some few people's greed cannot affect all of us as a people. No, we would not sit down unconcerned.
Winston, over the weekend, I went back to Professor Rosima Mama Intra-Mensah's annual lecture at the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences 2019. The title was, Is Ghana on the Brink of Ecological Suicide? Now, and it's terrible. This is 2019. If you read the content of that particular report, It means that we as a people, we have been so unfair to our environment, we have been so unfair to our future, and we have been so unfair to the young people who have nothing to do with this. Not only have we left them debt that they will struggle to pay, or we're already struggling to restructure anyway. We are also going to leave them an environment that will be completely useless for them going into the future. And I did say here, not everybody can buy the water. So yes, and over the weekend, I've had people say, listen, this problem can only be resolved if there is extraordinary action. The likes of H. Kwesi Pempe are all saying you need extraordinary action. You don't have to do the usual talk and hope that people will join in the talks. That's why Reverend Professor Paul Pomaso, and I must also say maybe I like them. I like the groups. But they have been unusually quiet. I particularly struggled to get the leadership of the GPCC and others to speak to. So I had to resort to people who had left office. When Professor Paul Manso, was in charge, he took them around, what they call it, galamsey sites. They complained, in fact, they wore some handbands and truncated the process of going out for an all-out demonstration when they had assurances from the minister. And he said that in that conversation. But those assurances came to naught. And yet nothing has happened. And new leadership are just moving on with their lives. I mean, we know you are powerful people. We know you lead congregations in huge numbers. We know your threat means something. That is why we are resorting to you, that if you have no conscience left at all, there should be some small space that your life is equally threatened. And that the members that you are relying on every other time, their lives are equally threatened. This is not time for the usual talk. Let's try and meet the president. Let's look for 1 year, 2 years, and still destroying the environment, and yet nobody cares about it. It is time for real action that brings impact. And I keep hearing people say there's election. With the greater respect, we have known elections in this country since 1992, and we still have a debt exchange on our hands. That is not the most important thing in this state. Let's not pretend that everything stops because there's elections. People are destroying the future of this country. I say that, we have an election coming up. It will be turned into political football. Who will turn it into the political football? The people who are destroying the water bodies, or those of us who are suffering at the tail end of it? It's the same set of politicians. So if politicians collude with illegal miners, then the rest of us are also say, let's help them. It's election time. So let's stop talking about it until after the election. So that how many people are waiting to die in the course of that? How many water bodies do we want destroyed before we do something about it? That's why I agree. There is drastic action required. But there are same voices in the Republic who should, and have always led this struggle. They should be the ones we should be hearing from, not pretending that they are holding meetings, and they've been holding meetings since we started doing reports about it, since we started talking about all the things that the water company has said before. But even think about it for a second. If for nothing at all, they say you are losing 60% of the water that is actually treated for you. It's not enough for you to intervene. The health questions are also sounding the alarm. If you do not believe in the likes of President Mensa, can't you hear the wealth workers saying that the problems they are bringing upon them, this our health system that's already on one knee, that with small pressure then it's out of gear. How on earth are we sure that when we have a full-blown crisis on our hands, we'll be able to handle it?
You've spoken about the fact that some people don't have the option to buy water. I don't think that we should even get to that extent of whether or not people have an option.
Which we have
to
gotten,
buy.
actually.
I'm just saying that we shouldn't get there, because we should be able to rely on our internal sources to get the water that we want.